Welcome back to the Coach's Corner, as always, sponsored by Premier Lending. Today, guys, you've got us. We're back and ready to spit fire. I'm Devin Dubuc.
And I'm Coach Rick Koenig.
And, man, I think we've got a great topic today, Coach. You know, we were just sitting in the green room, and, you know, I don't know why, maybe it's a brown room. I don't know what color the room is. We're in the orange room. We're Premier. It's the orange. We're sitting in the orange room. And we're having a conversation about what top-tier loan originators are doing. And, you know, I think we're both have a lot of experience with this because, you know, number one, decades in the industry. Number two, managed large companies. Number three, we're on the Redder Morning Show with Scott Hudspeth every single morning, and we're having new guests that jump on there and share their stories. And then I've got the national podcast where I'm bringing on a lot of these guests and getting a peek behind the corners at what they're doing, right? So what do you think today, Coach? Do we talk about what the best of the best of the best are doing out there?
Yeah, and I think, you know, when you start talking about what they're doing, part of what you got to talk about first is how they do what they're doing. And you and I were just talking about this. It's the loan officers today, we're seeing a lot of them that don't actually know how to be a loan officer. They know how to be salespeople. They know how to do a lot of things. They know how to market. They do tons of stuff. But the best of the best for years and years and years, and I think going into the future, are the ones that can look at a deal and do it like we did in the old days. You know, and I say the old days, and I don't mean it bad. So when you look at originators that were pre-2000, we didn't have laptops. We didn't have DU. You couldn't even get a credit report for 24 to 48 hours. It would print off a machine, and you'd see 5 people run over to the machine and be looking at the machine as the credit report printed out to see if it was yours. And then there was no credit score on it either. So back then, the originator had to know how to know the loan programs, which is a must in today's market.
Absolutely.
Even with AI and everything,
Doesn't
you
matter.
still got to have it. You got to know your products. The second thing is, you have to know how to read a credit report. Yeah. Even though you got the credit score, you still got to look at it because there can be stuff on there. You still have to know how to break down income, which is probably what I say the two most important things. It used to be reading the credit and doing some of the other stuff before DU. But if you don't know how to break down income and you don't know how to break down where the cash to close is coming from, you give it to your processor who gives it to an underwriter. They don't absolutely have 100% clear picture on what you see or know. And you and I were just talking about automating more than manual, you know, when you turn that stuff in. And that to me is the important thing before they start doing what they're doing to bring the business in. The people have to trust you.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, right? You know, because at the end of the day, you know, there are a lot of things that are automated. And, you know, we're not saying to not utilize the tools that are out there, but at the same time, you've got to know your guidelines inside and out. I was literally just having a conversation with the sales team on this the other day, Coach. And, you know, one of the things that I told them is we are in an industry where you can get paid money that athletes make, right? Money that superstars make, right? Astronomical amounts of money. But the people that are out there that are making that kind of money, they're at the top of their game, right? And the way that I analyze this, and this is my true belief, is if you're an attorney, you're spending a lot of time in school going through all these law books so that you know case versus case is this, right? And this is how I'm going to defend my client, okay? Well, in this industry, if you want to be able to serve the people, and let's talk about this because there's a lot less people here. There's a lot less loans to go around. And at the end of the day, if you're going to be able to serve your agents and serve your clients, you better know it inside and out. So if you're a top tier professional in this industry today, you should be studying the guidelines for the programs that you have, just like an attorney is studying to pass the bar, right? Because you've got to be able to go out there with confidence and go, hey, let me talk to you, top tier agent. And let me ask you, you know, what are you doing with the loans that are getting turned down, right? What about the clients that you felt like should have closed that didn't close? Okay. And hey, let me take a look at some of those. Let me go through that stack and see how I might be able to serve you. Let me earn your business. Hey, at the end of the day, I want a spot on the bench and I'm willing to put in the reps to get to that point. And if you're already that loan officer, great. But there's a lot of people out there trying to crack the code as to how they can engage with these top tier agents. And these podcasts that I keep having with all these great people, one of the things that they've had in common is they keep saying, well, A, I know my guidelines. B, when I approach people about my guidelines, I tell them, hey, look, this is what I'm known for. What I'm known in the industry is getting the tough deals done. And a lot of people go, well, I don't want to start there. Well, guess what? You got to start somewhere. And sometimes start with the tough deals is what it takes, right? And guess what? You got to go through the tough ones to get to the easy ones because they are there. But if they see that you're going to take the time to dissect and analyze and that you're going to get clients closed that they never thought were going to get closed, they're going to start to build trust in you, right? And eventually you can step up and go, look, I know I'm getting your trash and I'm good with that. Let me get 30% of your business, right? I'd love to just get a higher percent of your business. So that way those lenders that are not getting those loans now you don't have to deal with that. You don't have to have those struggles. So, I agree with you, Coach. I think you've got to know your guidelines inside and out. You have to know how to analyze a file and you got to put it together right. One thing that I've always told our teams is when you prepare a file, I don't care if it's for the processor or the underwriter, it needs to read like a good book. It can't be a Quentin Tarantino movie. And I love Tarantino, man. I'm a huge fan, right? But if the end is at the beginning or in the middle, like that process, they don't know where to start. You want to put it together in a point where they go, ooh, shoot. And you want that underwriter to never pull out the red marker. You want them to always have the green pen in their hand going, ooh, smiley face, stars. And the next time your file comes through, guess what? They're probably going to move somebody else's aside, grab yours and move to the top of the stack.
100%. It's funny that we use the movie and the sports analogies, but it's so true. A lot of it's just like going through the NFL draft recently. All your draft choices come in wanting to get paid like the top people in the industry, but they haven't even performed yet. And when you're going into these new realtors, and not new realtors to you, you do have to play your way on, onto the bench and then to
earn
move
your spot.
The easiest thing to do is to have that conversation when you've already closed 5 or 6 tough deals and say, hey, you know what? I think I'm earning some stripes with you. I think I'm earning points. I have closed deals that your other people couldn't do. Can you imagine how well I take care of the clients that are actually easy to do? And, quite frankly, I don't make any more money doing a hard one than I do an easy one. Hey, why don't you toss me a few, and just the way you ask for it, a lot of times they're going to go, oh man, I didn't see it that way. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And for originators, getting some of the better deals, some of the regular FHAs or VAs, and not always getting stuck with a toughie or a down payment assistance where your branch and the company's not making as much money. It can be the difference between not only just doing deals and building a relationship, but it can be the difference between being profitable as a loan officer. And both have to be taken into account.
Yeah. Well, let's start with this too, right? So another big part of this job is building trust. And that's not just trust with the agent, but it's trust with the client. So one of the other things that we keep hearing is people are doing a lot with social media today. Now, does that mean you need to consume your life with social? No, but there's certain things that you need to do. The audience that you want to target. So let's say that you want to work with some of the top tier agents in your market, or even not in your market, but it's in the sphere that you serve. You need to go on, you need to friend request every single one of those people. You need to make sure that they're seeing you and that they're present, right? And at the end of the day, sure, we can comment and DM, we should be doing those things. But at the same time, what we need to do is we need to start building a presence on social media that lets people know who we are. So how do you do that? Well, you take those same hard scenarios that you're talking about right here, Coach, the ones where you got that client done because you did cross your T's and dot your I's, and you tell a story, right? Hey, I just was thinking the other day, and I felt like I wanted to share this with the world. We had this customer that I just closed, and 6 months ago, they didn't think they could buy a house. The agent that I was working with, they were feeling a little disgruntled because the loan officer they were working with let this thing go, and they just felt like this client deserved to own a home. And we took a look at that file, and at the time, they weren't ready. But we did this, and over time, we got that client mortgage ready, and now they're a homeowner. You share that story. Hey, if you're an agent, you run into this, reach out to me and my team because we care and we're going to get your borrowers to the closing table. Sell it with conviction. Or how about this story? Hey, we've got this really great program and I felt like I'd share it out there because, I've found often that clients are getting stuck at the closing table or stuck on without buying right now because the rates are a little higher and they're feeling a little uncomfortable and homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer. So they can't always sell their house before they buy the next one, right? So guess what? We've got programs like the Bridge, but let's talk today about a recast. right? How do you use a recast? Well, at the end of the day, if you know you're going to sell the property you're exiting, but the new mortgage payment at $600,000 sounds scary to you, okay? What we do is we market you in at the $600,000 loan. We know that's a temporary bridge because at the end of the day, the payment on that looks pretty scary, but you also know that you've got a couple $100,000 in equity on the house that you're going to exit. So we look at what it's going to look like to recast that same loan that we're providing you now, which is going to save you $1,700 a month in this particular scenario after the transaction's finalized, and you don't get petrified or shell shocked because the new payment is going to be higher, and you go out there and find the house that you want and take a little bit more time to move the property on the back end. Hey, if you've seen agents or clients that run into those, call me today, right?
Yeah.
You need to be doing that kind of stuff on social media. That's how you're going to get people's attention.
Lucky and they qualify with both loans, the recast is an excellent way to go. And then, with our internal bridge loan product that we have, you don't have to income qualify because we'll actually finance a couple months of payments into the loan so you don't have double payments. We won't make you get rid of your original mortgage on the current home, so you still have that lower payment, or the payment you're used to. And now you can go buy that house, have a couple of months to sell it, and you wouldn't even double up with an interest-only payment until the almost 90 days.
That's it. And instead of just selling the product, talk about how you served an agent by providing that product as an opportunity to help their clients get into the next home, and how they're now closing more loans as a result of the fact that you have the product. Because now it's not a sale, it's a win. And you're sharing a win with your people out there, and they get excited about that kind of stuff. The other thing, and this was one that I never really thought about, we had a gentleman on the other day, and he was talking about how he actually started putting all of his wins on social when they go to the table and they close the loan, and then shares a little bit of story about how they got the client there and the agent that they won the deal with. And what he said was, if they forget to make that post, he actually gets a call from one of his agents going, hey, why did I get a post like Susie got the post? Because now you're promoting that, and they want to be on that list. They want to be somebody that's out there getting promoted. So when you start building that brand and that channel that people are tuning to, and you go out and friend request these agents, and then you start to build relationships with them, they tune into your channel or they see something slide across because you guys are now friends, and they go, oh my God, this is a guy or a gal that gets it done. They're actually helping agents get more closings by providing value, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So if you break this down, what's the most important? The most important is to know how to do your job.
Yeah.
Do the origination, know the loan programs, qualifying them. The second thing is, how are you meeting these people? Some of them are making phone calls, but before they're making the phone calls, they're looking at them on social media. They're friend requesting them. They're making comments, and not just, like.
That doesn't work.
5-word type comments so that it's picking you up in the algorithm.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, their people see you. Other agents see you. Their clients see you. Clients that are going to use them see you. And so now all of a sudden you've got the right to, pick up the phone and call them and go ahead and try to do that first deal. I know I've mentioned this before. I got a good buddy, Coach Dave Brown, out there in Texas, and he always says, don't be a pitch pirate. So you can't friend them, like one thing, and then boom, be on the phone with them instantly trying to get a deal going. So, without doing that first, take some time to build the relationship, that people see it. So, qualifying products, how to contact them. What other?
Didn't maybe DM them, Coach? DM them. Hey, you know what? We got friends on Facebook, and I seen what you're doing, and I got to tell you, man, I really feel like we could complement each other. I'd love to catch up for 15 minutes. We're bound to have a contract fly across each other's desk sometime. Let's have a meeting and just get to know each other a little bit.
Yep.
And that's natural. And now it's warm because they've been seeing you. They accepted your friend request. You waited for them to accept the friend request before you hit them with the first DM. And it's not a cold call because it's warm. You guys actually know each other a little bit ahead of time. And because you're out there actually posting the wins that you're making happen right now, they're already got a little bit more confidence in who you are as a person. That is your business card. You know what? I'm going to say it right. I don't know who's saying this. Social media in 2025 is your business card.
Yeah. Yeah. How many? I don't even have a business. I haven't had a business card. I don't think since 2020. I don't think I've
Yeah.
had a business card in 5 years. You know, uh,
Maybe
heck,
a
I got
QR
a
code.
tag on my bags that I made myself that looks like a business card just for when I travel.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Mine's on
so
my phone. It's a QR code, and where does it take you? To my social page. Why? Because at the end of the day, how do you get to know me? Well, you can see my family, my kids, who I am, what I'm doing on the weekends. And at the end of the day, you can see the people that I'm serving and how we're helping those people. And that's what it's all about. If you want to bridge connections in today's world, make sure you got the value. And what's the value? You. But if you don't have the value, if you're not, you need to step up your game. Get out there, get yourself educated, learn your guidelines, know your selling proposition, like what it is that you bring to the table that's better than everybody else, and then show the world that you got it, right? Like that's what it's all about.
yep. Well, I think we hit them with a few things, and I know we didn't look this up in advance, but if you need to learn about loan products, about qualifying people, your title companies are usually pretty good about having information online on their websites that you can go to learn about everything. And if you don't, the National Mortgage Bankers Association actually has classes that you can take. And if you check around, there are companies out there. I just talked to a buddy of mine, J.R. Huber, out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. J.R. ran a company, mortgage investors group out of Tennessee for a number of years. He started his own training company and coaching company and licensing company. There are lots of people out there like that that have the ability to help you get the knowledge. And then the other thing is talk to your underwriters and your onboarders and things like that. And if you're not comfortable, ask your team, ask Devin, ask myself to help you learn how to do stuff like that so that, you can quickly become that expert. Because, when Devin and I started, man, there was no formal training.
No.
When I said to one of the guys in the office, we might know a lot of the same people. Do you have a list of your agents so I stay away from them? And he walked in my office and he dropped, and now I'm really aging myself. He drops a white pages and a yellow pages on my desk, and they're this thick, and they were the Cincinnati, and he drops them on my desk and says, "There you go. These are all mine." And I just said, "Game on, brother."
Well, and I want to leave with this too. Make sure you're aligning yourself with a group of people that are there to help empower you, whether it's through a coaching program or just making sure you're working with the right group of folks. Before we hopped on here, and this literally just happened, so I got to speak about it. We use Roam, ro.am, as our virtual office so that all of our folks can find each other and meet with each other and help each other. And I literally saw 3 people in one of the virtual offices in a meeting, and I knocked on the door, the virtual door, right, to let myself in. And they said, come on in. And what did I see when I walked in? Pay stubs, right? Now, mind you, this is 2 loan officers and a pre-approval specialist. And what we've got is we've got a younger guy who's newer to the industry who is trying to figure out how to make sure that he's providing great value. And then we got an older guy that's been doing this for a long time. And then we've got our pre-approval specialist who's kind of sitting back, orchestrating the whole thing. And they're training this younger guy how to make sure that he is analyzing these things properly so that he sells this loan to the client with confidence, can provide that pre-approval to his agent with confidence, because this is a trickier loan. And these aren't sales managers that are having these kind of conversations. These are their team members who really care and want to support one another. Align yourself with something like that, right? Whether it's a coaching program or the right company, get into a community where people care about helping you get to that next level so that you can be a guideline guru. And by the way, if you want to be at the top of your game, grab your guidelines and read them. Become an attorney. Literally, attorneys get paid massive money because they know their guidelines inside and out, right? That's what this industry is. If you want to make $1 million more a year, learn the guidelines inside and out. Become the Jedi master of the mortgage industry. Set yourself apart from the competition. So I think this is where we leave them today, Coach. What do you think? Did we give them some good knowledge today?
Hey, man, you're sending me off to vacation on a high note.
Well, enjoy it, man. I wish I could have joined you on this one. We'll definitely have, we'll always have Vegas coming up here soon. And, we'll get to break some bread together there.
We'll do some producer trips down the road here.
Amen. Amen. I love it. Well, guys, I'm Devin Dubuc.
I'm Coach Rick Koenig.
Keep coming back every single week for the Coach's Corner, where we're going to give you all kinds of insight as to what producers are doing right now to build their business. Hey, if you haven't already, like, follow, subscribe, share this with 3 people in your sphere that need to hear it. And if you have a topic you want tackled, put it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Till the next time, we'll see you then.